people in poverty are represented extremely badly in the media. You just need to look at Jeremy Kyle and the sort of stereotypes that they perpetuate. An example of sort of a conservative viewpoint is one of Ian Duncan Smith in 2008 when he did a speech regarding Glasgow East where he discussed the issues of poverty. He made reference several times to Shettleston Man, a Scottish folk devil who's constantly out of work and never have benefits. He's the embodiment of conservative stereotypes. Also, you have David Cameron talking about this Shettleston Man, claiming that the individual has low life expectancy. He lives in social housing, drug and abuse play an important part in his life, and he is always out of work. Cameron continued to say about the benefit system that we need to accept that the welfare system has become part of the problem, and that we need to move people from dependence to independence. In the Thatcher-led government, lots of factories, mines, etc. were closed down in towns and rural areas. So a lot of men in these communities lost their jobs. In replacement of these really long-standing jobs that have been in these communities for ages, the men didn't know what to do. In these communities there was no jobs to replace these long-term jobs. Just part-time jobs that didn't pay nearly as well, which really made the community feel quite helpless. A lot of industry went into the cities, and although some people from the rural areas went into the cities and followed the work, a lot didn't, which caused problems which arguably are still felt today. The knock-on effect of this is generation after generation in these communities, work has not recovered. So there's still a lack of jobs in these communities. The part of drugs and alcohol and even smoking in these situations is a lot to do with escapism. A lot of people in poverty and a lot of people living on benefits or in social housing don't want to. They don't want to rely on the government. Often researchers that do look into attitudes in these communities often see people really wanting to go into work, people wanting to break away from this horrible daily routine of doing nothing. But often the government doesn't see it that way and often perpetuates this horrible idea of the underclass and people that don't want to change their situation, they're all lazy and they all do drugs. However, it's really not the case. So arguably, it's very much not an individual problem, necessarily. Sure, you can argue that drug use and alcohol abuse is an individual choice. However, when used to try and escape from a situation, it becomes slightly blurred. There's very much an argument that the changes in the Thatcher government period have caused a knock-on effect into today's terms. It is the case that poorer areas see the highest teenage pregnancy rates. It's predominantly young women who have faced multiple difficulties: childhood poverty, lack of academic success at school, temporary and those in low-paid work who are most likely to become teenage mothers. Early motherhood compounds these disadvantages, making it more difficult for both them and their children to escape long-term poverty. So this has become very much a moral panic. If teenagers are having children, then it challenges the idea that you have to be in a secure family to have children and to have a successful family life. Also, the fact that a lot of teenage mothers are in poverty causes panic over the fact that their children might also be on benefits and might follow in their parents' footsteps. However, there is a huge issue with this moral panic. The idea that, oh no, lots of teenage mothers who are in poorer families are having children. It's slightly challenged when you look at the actual teenage pregnancy rates, which are actually falling in both the UK and the US. So this just highlights how moral panics really can change over time, and also are pretty much just people being very scared for children. They'll grow up in benefits, they'll not want to do anything, and that's going to affect our society.